often in living color from the Arizona Professional Locksmith Association studios is The Locksmith Show, where your hosts, Andrew and I, Locksmith Charley, are here to bring you the latest news and entertainment in the security industry. Our call-in numbers are 602-277-5369, and we'd like you to call in and talk about any lock-related issues you might have. Today, while I was getting prepared to come into the show, I did a search for locksmith industry news, and while reading articles for, among other things, getting into the catalytic converter recycling business, there was an article and an accompanying YouTube video on testing a key to see if it was a transponder key or not. The guy was involved in the remote starter business and had a Subaru in his shop. He explained that if you started with a piece of tinfoil about a foot square and folded it several times, then poked the key through the center of it and wrapped the remainder around the head of the key, it would block any radio signals coming from the key. He demonstrated that the car would start with just the key, and the car would not start with the same key wrapped up in the tinfoil. Now, I don't know if this video was factual or faked, but that's what I saw. This may lend credence to the theory that a tinfoil hat may protect the wearer from intergalactic death rays. But I'm not sure about that one either.
That's what I was going to say. How much tinfoil hat was that guy wearing during his video?
No hats on the video.
No hats.
Was it that Lesko guy?
No, it was a guy, actually, his website is automotiveindustrynews.com, and it appears to be a blog for Terry's Mobile Locksmith from Australia. And oddly enough, on Terry's Mobile Locksmith Australia's blog, it was suggested, when you go to a locksmith, make sure that he's a certified locksmith by the Associated Locksmiths of America. And no, I'm not kidding. It said that on his...
From Australia?
Yeah.
Very interesting.
That one I don't get.
Scammer alert.
No, I don't think so. Because this guy is in the automotive business, and he was doing...
Well, I know that, but he's in Australia. But he's telling people that they should be associated with the Locksmiths of America in Australia.
Well, maybe he's a loyal Aloha member. I don't know.
Yeah. How is Aloha doing?
I'll know better if I can get on the air next week, because I may be on the airplane coming back from the board meeting. But I'm going to be in the board meeting Thursday, Friday, Saturday next week, so I'll know better after that.
Oh, okay.
That's right. You go out to Texas, right?
Yeah, I'm flying out to Texas Wednesday afternoon.
Awesome.
So did you hear about South Carolina?
In regards to what?
Well, North Carolina's legislature is considering eliminating licensing boards for several trades and industries, including locksmiths.
South Carolina wants to create the board now.
The lockies in South Carolina are discussing whether there's a need for more regulations and possibly licensing in South Carolina due to the recent arrest of a locksmith who was one of 4 creeps that allegedly molested 2 4-year-old children. This Peter, I'm not going to try his first name, Peter Spirakis, a convicted sex offender and locksmith/owner at Phil's Lock and Key, recently was charged with sex crimes against 2 4-year-olds. The 4 people charged are Lindsay Honeycutt of Myrtle Beach, Ambrose Heavener of Conway, this Spiricus guy of Myrtle Beach, and Anthony Strickland of Myrtle Beach. Honeycutt and Heavener are charged with criminal sexual conduct with a minor in the first degree, sexual exploitation of a minor in the first degree, engaging a child for sexual performance, and incest. Spiricus, well, we don't want to hear about all that. But he's the owner of Phil's Lock and Key on US 17 in North Myrtle Beach, where he worked as a locksmith since 2002. He's also a registered sex offender, twice convicted for sex crimes involving young teens in 2005 and 2008. Michelle Evans, a Myrtle Beach resident for more than 20 years, wanted to have her home rekeyed after going through a divorce and called Phil's Lock and Key, who she had used before under the previous owner. Well, she didn't know, I guess, that the previous owner went away and they've got a criminal. And so another good and decent locksmith, let me see here, Nick Allen of Affordable in Myrtle Beach went out and rekeyed her place for free because she was uncomfortable with the way this guy had looked at her, I think it was 9-year-old child. This guy in Myrtle Beach, Spirakis, his business license was suspended March 18th and may be revoked pending a hearing set for Wednesday if he doesn't opt to voluntarily close and return his business license to the city. Well, yay. Maybe we can get rid of him.
Right.
But is it really going to stop him?
Well, I do believe that he will probably be the victim of sex crimes. Well, he's in the pokey.
I'm not saying anything like that, but making legislation to restrict or put licensing on locksmiths, are they going to
enforce it?
There's a case involving a guy right now in California who had 3 or 4, one theft charge, I think there was an assault charge, domestic violence. They found him with a baseball bat with spikes sticking out of it in his vehicle, and the BS department over in California denied his license. He went to an administrative law judge and apparently convinced her that he was sufficiently rehabilitated so that the administrative law judge ordered, well, the BS department shall issue him a license, then they shall immediately revoke it and then reinstate it on a probationary basis. And so he's out there playing locksmith and acting kind of as a scammer in California. The good news is he did apply for Aloha membership, and Aloha said, oh, hell no. So
seems some enforcement is happening, or at least some awareness is going on.
Well, yeah, and the licensing agencies where they exist do background checks.
Okay.
But, I don't know what good it's going to do if there is no enforcement, or if there are judges that are going to overturn these denials. I just don't know. I don't know all the answers. And Mike Brunzell and I were talking about this on my drive in. Should a registered sex offender be able to be a locksmith? Well, my question is, who is more dangerous to society, a registered sex offender or an unregistered convicted murderer? And should unregistered convicted murderers be allowed to be locksmiths? And Mike was saying that, well, they let him be a locksmith. Well, if there's nothing prohibiting him,
right,
then who's to say no? If he goes into the business license department and pays the $30 or whatever for a business license, it's primarily what they refer to as a ministerial function. The clerk behind the counter takes the money, issues the license, and if there's not something like a box on the form saying, are you a this, are you a that, or, then who's to say no that they shouldn't take his money and hand him the license?
Right. So basically what you're saying is only certain occupational boards will do the background checks, other ones, or in regards to just the business license alone without having a regulatory board. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, in South Carolina, they don't have any locksmith licensing.
Just like in Arizona, where they can just walk in, get a business license.
You're on your way.
And then you're on your way.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely think that further restrictions need to happen. It's actually something that kind of goes down the lines of another topic that we'll discuss later. But, myself, I have, a little side project that I want to become a brewer. And that requires me to do a full background check if I've had any type of, alcohol abuse. Exactly. And if I've had alcohol abuse or if I've, sold to a minor or anything like that, I can't get a liquor license. So I don't see why it's not treated the same way across the board.
Now, when you get that, are you also going to get your FFL so you can run around selling machine guns?
Might have to consider it. You never know.
Yeah, but then you might have the ATF after you.
Yeah.
Well, no, if you get a license.
Well, they're watching a guy in Phoenix.
They are. They're watching the neighborhood, it seems like.
Yeah.
Or on that
certainly hope so. We're going to be back in just a minute. The call-in numbers are 602-277-KFNX, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Locksmith Show, where we have Andrew and Charley in the studio. You want me to keep going with stuff, or you got some stuff?
Well, we can talk about the ATF Phoenix incident.
Yeah.
Do tell.
It looks like on Thursday, the alcohol, tobacco, and firearm and explosives, I guess they've added that to it now. So it's ATF and E.
Or X.
Or X,
yeah.
True. Has came forth in saying that they were the ones that placed a mysterious box on a power pole that SRP owns on 21st and Glendale Avenue. And basically, the gentleman whose backyard it was placed in found the box kind of mysterious and contacted SRP about it. SRP had informed him that it wasn't theirs and that it may be local law enforcement. So he made a phone call to Glendale PD, and Glendale PD said that it wasn't theirs, it may be federal. And so he called the media. The media came out, did a very big story on it and everything, and it was on Thursday of this week that the ATF and E came out and removed the box, but said that they would not speak if it was an ongoing investigation on him, on the neighborhood, or why exactly the box was placed on that pole.
I'm going to start calling it the AFI.
The AFI.
Instead of the ATF, it's...
Well, actually, gal I used to go out with knew that it was the BATF, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, and she always called them the Bat Effers.
There you go. Yeah, so Brian Clegg, I hope I said that correctly, was the gentleman whose backyard it was in, and they came back, ABC 15 is where I'm reading this from, and asked him if he feels any safer. And his exact response was, I don't feel any safer.
Especially if they're coming after him.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean,
I thought that in the news story they said that they weren't coming after him. They said that it wasn't having to deal with the gentleman. I thought that's what, at least.
Well, I thought Andrew just said that they wouldn't say if it was for him, for the neighborhood, or for just decoration of the pole.
Right. It says ATF officials would not elaborate on the investigation and would not say if they were conducting surveillance in the area. They may have told Brian, I do believe. I think we were watching one of those videos, and he said that.
It wasn't the gentleman.
Maybe they told him informally that
it was
you're
something
not the
like,
target. You could relax.
Exactly. It was something like you have nothing to worry about, but that doesn't generally mean that the area doesn't have anything to worry about.
No.
Yeah, you don't have anything to worry about, so shut up.
I just found it funny. SRP had no idea that the box was there.
Well, SRP probably put it there for the government, and
in the news story, it was actually a different company that put it there.
Oh,
yeah, it was like Fields.
So it was, in the first story, they didn't know. They looked up the company and they couldn't find it anywhere.
The non-existent company.
Very, the black man sitting on the corner saying pet cleaner. He wasn't the pet cleaner.
Say it's not so.
Well, hopefully nothing crazy is going on at 21st Avenue in Glendale.
Well, I know something crazy is going on by Mesa Drive and Brown Road.
Oh, yes.
This morning around 9:15, the news broke that Mesa police are investigating a body found in an SRP canal. They're not
SRP
saying,
seems to have a lot of bad things going on.
Well, anyway, they're not saying if it's male or female. I don't think they have any identification, and they say that the body had been in the water for some time, according to Mesa Fire Department spokesman Dean Morales. So, there's another one gone. Aloha has announced that they have secured GI Bill funding for professional development of veterans. On April 4th, a press release came out from Aloha saying this program will pay up to 376 hours of professional development courses through Aloha. Now, if a 4-hour course is going for a couple of $100, that sounds like a lot of government money that's able to go to Aloha if they can find a bunch of veterans that want to take advantage of it.
Very true. It's a good thing. I mean, definitely.
Yeah. Get these guys a lot of good training and professional training and
a career that they can enter into, as they're transitioning back into the civil life after everything they've sacrificed for us. It's a great thing. I know too many. Actually, I was at Arizona Bike Week last night and talked to several veterans that, these guys have literally thrown their lives down the drain because they got out and they didn't have any type of, civilized job skill. The guy said that he worked on submarines. Where else do you go and work on a submarine in the civil side? It doesn't happen. So,
well, there is NOAA, NOAA.
Okay.
National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. I think they do some submarine stuff
right.
From time to time. But, yeah, in the general mainstream of things, you're right, there isn't a lot of submariner activity,
right. Or in
Lake Pleasant,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
unless a submarine repair shop right there.
The the infantry division guys and things like that, they go in, they come out, and unless they want to become a police officer or a glorified security guard, they really have no opportunity for a professionalized career,
Well, and the good news is that once these guys are trained as locksmiths and safecrackers, if they're going to work in Arizona, they can still carry guns.
There you go. Feel like they're still on duty.
Yeah. Well, I think it's everybody's duty to take care of everybody else. I mean, when I lived in California, they were very, very anti-gun, and from what I've read in the laws, it's become much, much worse since I've left.
Right.
And my feeling has always been, if you're a guy that's having hard times and you're thinking maybe, gee, let me go stick up the 7-Eleven store for some beer money or some dope money or whatever, are you going to be really inclined to do that if you think that 2 or 3 out of the 10 people in line are going to be armed and might just put a bullet in the back of your head while you're sticking a gun in the clerk's face?
Right. I mean, stopped a lot of the robberies back in, the wild, wild west days, so to speak. Everybody kind of had a pistol on their hip and things moved fluidly because if you acted out, you were taken out.
Precisely. In short order.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was no court ruling on that one. It was a community ruling.
Or just an individual ruling.
Sure.
So, I was looking at the Aloha Weekly Dispatch, whatever they call it. And apparently they're having a problem in Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada. So an auto body expert is now advising everyone to lock their tailgates to prevent theft. A Regina police officer who deals with property crime told News Talk Radio that while stolen tailgates are not unheard of, they are certainly rare. It's not a petty crime, noting that most of the newer trucks have sensors or backup cameras on the tailgates. Police are treating this as an active investigation, and so always lock your tailgate so nobody steals it.
Yeah, I was just talking about that to somebody the other day.
Will that secure it enough by just locking it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, if it's unlocked, you could open it and lift it up.
The
and
two
take
hinges
it
off,
Take
right.
the two little clips off and slide it right off the off the whole. Yeah, that's why I was talking. It was a couple weeks ago. I was talking about it on the radio. I don't think you were here. I think when Ryan was still here, I was saying how many times I've showed up at making a key for one, and before I had the easy readers and other things, I went and pulled a tailgate lock, and I don't know how many times it was a different key.
I think we were talking about that in the van on the way to that Nissan Titan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you also talk about installing Medico deadbolts on each side on the back and...
Yeah.
All right.
No, not really.
Now those go into the frame of it, or?
Padlock and hasps.
I'm sorry?
The deadbolts go into the frame of the truck?
He's making a joke.
Oh, gotcha.
No. In one respect I am, but in another respect I'm not. I mean...
They do make things that...
When I worked for Reed Brothers Security in Oakland back in 1902 when I was a little boy, they would pull the GM door lock out, cut it in half, screw the back half onto an ACE cam lock, put the ACE cam lock into the door, and then you'd have ACE keys to lock and unlock the door of your car instead of just the regular GM keys.
Interesting.
So, doing tricky, trippy stuff like that is not out of the question. It's just unusual and sometimes insane. And
I had an old neighbor of mine that had an ACE lock on the side of his old Oldsmobile, and it was actually the alarm.
Well, I've seen that on Corvettes. They got it on the driver's side fender. You go and turn the alarm off before you go open the door, and we'll be back in just a moment after these words and news and weather. Welcome back to the Locksmith Show. Our call-in number is 602-277-KFNX. We're here to answer any questions that you might have or any concerns about anything lock and key related, scammer related, and we're thinking about scammers. Andrew, you've been having a little bit of difficulty with Giggle, I hear.
Difficulty's an understatement.
Do tell.
I don't know. I hate Google. I used to love Google, but I've come to realize more and more I really don't think they know what they're doing. I think their algorithm runs rampant, and it has a mind of its own, literally. And they took the word locksmith and blacklisted us. We're just dust in the wind to them. Really, I think they don't know what they're doing, and they don't know how to fix the problem.
And their support department really has zero guidance to provide any type of assistance to fix the problem. Even they just kind of say, hey, we don't know what's going on. Give us 30 minutes and we'll call you back, and then never call back, or give us a day, or we'll send you an email, or anything to get you off the phone, and then they never follow up, or it comes back with well, that's the way it is. So have a nice day.
I had this nice conversation with a lady the other day from Chicago who moved to Fountain Hills and has a doctor who is in Fountain Hills who used to use Google AdWords himself. And she saved his 800 number that Google AdWords gave him for the call only. Well, that's saved in her cell phone. I got charged $27.50 for me to tell her that I was not her doctor. And I tried to explain that to Google AdWords, and they told me that was a valid click. So I had to pay for me to tell her that I was not her doctor.
Because she dialed a number that you now have?
Yes.
Right. A forwarding number that was saved in her phone. She clicked call on that, and we got charged $27 for that.
And I've had several phone calls with her. I've called her back a few times.
That's how we found out.
That's how I found out how this is all. I was like, did you search? I was just trying to see if she accidentally hit it, And she's like, no, I was just calling my doctor. I had 2 phone numbers saved in my phone. And I was like, okay, well, that makes no sense to me. And then I hung up the phone with her, and then I called her back again. I said, do you still have that phone number in your phone? And she goes, no. And I said, wasn't it an 800 number? She goes, yeah, it was an 877 number. And that's when I realized what had happened. And Google won't fix it. They won't give me my $27 back.
Well, there's two problems with Google. The first problem is that they have only one legitimate thing that they have to do, and that is generate revenue for their shareholders.
Yes.
The second problem is the law that was originally designed to protect children from pornography, the Communications Decency Act, gives Google and Yahoo and Bing and all those blanket immunity for anything that's published on their website that they are not the original author of.
Right.
And then obviously the third problem is there's
just a lot of people
therefore
who don't
no
play
accountability.
fair. Yeah. And that's where I think we need to get some type of regulation, and I think it should be more from the FTC, because when you do advertising on this station, let's say, or on TV, or on a newspaper, or wherever, if you are advertising, you need to know who that company that is paying for that advertising is.
Yes. Complete transparency.
Complete transparency of that company. Because if they're out there advertising X, Y, and Z.
I quite agree with you, and that's one of the problems with all the locksmith scammers and the state of the law now, and places like GoDaddy over there in Snobsdale.
They're more in Tempe now.
Well, wherever.
Headquarters is still in Costello.
GoDaddy will let anybody that wants to go into business sign up for a domain name and do this domains by proxy crap that's hiding the name, address, and phone number of the person that actually belongs to the website. If you do a whois, here's domains by proxy. Well, what does that tell you about a business? If I register my domain, or if you go look up locksmithcharley.com, you're going to find my name, my address. Now, for that, it's a P.O. box, but still, it's my address. And the phone number on there, you call that phone number, my cell phone's going to ring.
Yeah.
And so, because I don't have anything to hide. Now, why does GoDaddy over in Snobsdale there want to conspire with companies engaging in less than legitimate activities to hide who is actually behind that company? Now, I had a conversation with a gal that used to work over there, and she said that they came up with this domains by proxy because there was a lady that was making a website as a support group for battered women.
Right.
And that support group, she was getting threats.
Mm-hmm.
Well, something like that, okay, I don't mind. But if you're out conducting a normal commercial business, locksmith, plumber, electrician, carpenter, whatever, trash hauler, why do you need to hide your name, address, and phone number from the public?
Well, some of that is for spam readers anyway, because you get a lot of junk crap because of that. I do.
Well, you do anyway.
Well, you do anyway, but you can tone it down a little bit. I don't hide anything, just like, you don't really hide anything. It comes up as one of my businesses I own, but if you do enough research, you can figure out who it is. You type in Underdog Studios owner, I'm going to come up there. You type in Andrew's Lock and Key owner, I'm going to come up there. You type in any of the association websites, they're registered to my studio. Because that's where, that's who's hosting and who's doing all of that stuff.
And Andrew's Lock and Key does
anything.
What all?
Everything. You name it. Has a lock on it, I'll touch it. I'll fix it. I'll take it apart.
Don't say anything, because I might have you come out and redo my toilet here in a while.
If it has a lock on it.
If it has a lock on it.
Oh, no, it doesn't.
No.
Okay, then. And you can reach Andrew by calling him at
area code 480-480-8255. 602-437-4022.
Or in the Scottsdale area, 602-503-1343.
Yep.
Well, that's actually the Phoenix area code. Scottsdale's 480.
It's been a long number, but we're using that for the Scottsdale area currently.
Yep.
All right then.
What's your phone number, Charlie? What do you do in the industry?
Anything I can. I, of course, am Locksmith Charley, and you can reach me at 602-717-5397, 717-KEYS. And now I try to limit my area a little bit. I try to stay in between Apache Junction and Buckeye and Anthem and Maricopa, but occasionally I might have to go a little farther.
To Tucson?
Been there, done that.
Yeah, me too. A couple times.
Academy once sent me up to Vegas to do some Tommy Bahama stores, just because I had experience with the kind of doors that they have on their stores down here, and the guys up in Vegas didn't have a clue in the world. They have these bifolding doors that are hanging on a trolley, and the deadbolt is going down into the floor.
Yeah.
It's just a mess, these doors. I don't know who contrived these things, but they need to be put on a rack and tortured for a while or something, or put in stocks in the town square for a while.
You know, I really hated were those mortise gate locks on some of those mall stores that for some reason they never decided to think that they would ever be rekeyed.
The Herculite doors?
No, the Herculite doors aren't bad. There's been one that I've actually had to drop to get the lock out, in all the time that I'm doing this. No, I'm talking the security gates that have the mortar cylinders most of the time just on the inside. And I've had a couple of them that I've actually had to drill the rivets out on and re-rivet the whole gate back together just to get the cylinder.
Lucky you.
It was the worst job in the world. I charged a lot of money to do it, but then I made it so we could take the locks out again. But
if there's a set screw on the side of the cylinder, couldn't you just drill a hole through the gate to get to the set screw?
Not exactly. That's what I thought, so we had done that. We couldn't get to the set screw because the set screw is on the other side.
These and other top stories on the big news at 10.
No, it was a nightmare. I had another locksmith over there helping me, too.
See, and ladies and gentlemen, this is the kind of example of where complications can set in. Normally, when we get a call from someone and they say how much to come out and do this and that, we know what this and that is. We know how long it's going to take, and we tell you it's going to be X amount of dollars. And when we come out, X doesn't change, except that every once in a while, like a couple, 3 weeks ago, X actually got to be less because the Chrysler vehicle did not have a transponder system and started up with just a plain key. So, we had told the person it was going to be a lot of money for a transponder key, and then it was a lot of money minus the transponder key, and the customer was just shocked that it was going to be less than what we were telling them. So, but sometimes when complications set in where a 30-minute job ends up being an hour and a half, of course, we're going to tell you ahead of time, hey, this isn't exactly what we anticipated when we got the description on the phone, and re-quoted at the time, but we're nothing like the people that are going to advertise $14 and $19 locksmith and then charge it $289 for opening up the car.
Oh, God, no.
That's just insanity, or criminality is what it is.
Yeah, no, never do anything like that. You get to some jobs and there's some stuff that do arise, but not on the average car opening, house opening, any of that.
Or even rekeys or repairs. I mean, when I get a call that they can't get the storefront door open, 95% of the time I know, set screw has come loose, the cylinder is turned, we got to reorient the cylinder and tighten up the screw.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Or it's been starting to door sagging and more sagging and more sagging.
Hinge adjustment.
And hinge adjustment. Or the lady a couple weeks ago. Oh, did you hit the door yesterday? Oh, yeah, we did. Really hard. That's why your lock doesn't work.
The call-in number is 602-277-5369, and we'll be back after these announcements from our very lovely sponsors. Welcome back to the Locksmith Show. We have Andrew and Locksmith Charley here in the studio. Andrew, tell them again a little more about you, your company, and what you do.
Well, I'm AZ Tech Geeks. It's aztechgeeks.com. I do basically web development and web design. I've been doing it now for, it's going on 7 years.
Since Al Gore invented the internet?
Yeah, I wish. But yeah, no, it's basically any type of business. I can build anything from a basic landing page all the way through to a complete enterprise management system. Right now, I'm actually contracted with Andrew of Andrew's Lock and Key, working on building his company, as well as Old Town Scottsdale Locksmith, which is a division of Andrew's Lock and Key, and we're just trying to combat the scam issue that's going on and figure out how exactly we can get all of the locksmiths onto the internet to try to create a coalition, so to speak.
And so if somebody needs you, they can get a hold of you by?
Calling 480-420-6637 or 480-772-7609.
Excellent. So if you need any web stuff done, give Andrew a call, and if he can't do it, we can figure out somebody that can.
Yes.
Absolutely.
According to the results of a recent survey, 72% of U.S. adults say they are in favor of using security cameras in schools, an increase of 7 percentage points over a similar survey conducted last year. Isn't that kind of a no-brainer?
Yes and no. Let me tell you why. Because I've requested some videos from schools, and they won't give them to you.
Well, they will if you slap a subpoena on them.
Or if your child is in IEP, you can also really argue a lot of stuff. They have a lot more protection, but they don't release the footage. So.
But if something happens, authorities would be able to get to it.
Yes. Or if you're trying to dispute something over that happened at the school with your children, they may not give it to you because the school's at fault.
CYA?
Yes.
No, schools wouldn't do CYA. Come on now.
Well, I'm for surveillance, but I'm also not for surveillance. So.
Once upon a time, my roommate went off to the pet store to get some treats for the happy hound or something. And the girl at the pet store did not give Tracy back my credit card. She then went on a spending spree at McDonald's and other places, and the pet store did actually have video of the girl taking the card from Tracy and not giving it back to her. When I served them with a subpoena or a request for production or whatever it was, whatever we got back from them was not viewable.
Wow.
And so I think we have some more CYA action going on there. And I don't know how you combat that. Surveillance is, of course, a very productive tool in a lot of situations, and it helps police solve a lot of problems and identify a bunch of creeps. But what do you do if the people that are doing the surveillance don't want to give it up because it might embarrass them or cause them to show that they're actually liable?
I think there's both of those there. I surveillance all of the stuff I own, just like everybody else should. Now, would I hold something I don't know.
Or if something happened that might show you to be negligent, would you suddenly destroy all the videos?
Well, I don't know if I would destroy videos of me being negligent, but it goes down to, the dash cams in cars. Are they a good thing? Yeah, they're cool to have, and you can do a lot of things, but if you're at fault on something,
Hey, if I'm at fault at something in the car, my insurance company going to take care of it. No two ways about that.
Yes and no, because if they can prove your stupidity, sometimes there's little clauses in your stuff. If it's you're at fault and you're doing X, Y, and Z, and you did X, Y, and Z while driving, then they're not at fault.
Well, that I don't know about. I'm just talking about normal traffic situations. If I happen to run a red light or something and broadside somebody, then, obviously I'd be at fault, but my insurance company would pay for that. Where, on the other hand, if somebody says I ran a red light and broadsided them when they actually ran the red light and I was going through the green, my dash cam would help me out immensely.
Yes, sure. We could have used the dash cam actually coming down to the station today. As we were coming down, what had been 7th there, we had the green light to go forward, and a family, one in a wheelchair, a younger kid, and then the mom or wife was crossing on our green, and there was a random sandal, not one of theirs. All of them had two shoes on each foot, and she decided to stop in the middle of the road and kind of observe this shoe until I literally had to roll down the window and say, "You want to get out of the road?" And she kind of waved her hands in the air and apologized and picked up this random shoe and finally got off the middle of the road. But in a case like that, say I wasn't paying attention directly in front of me and was looking for, the station if it was my first time here or something, I could have struck her, and in all actuality, it would have been my fault.
And I've always wondered about that every time I'm driving around. Why is there one shoe out there in the middle of the road? Did somebody driving down the road just decide, I don't want this shoe, I'm going to throw it out the window?
Yeah, no, definitely some weird items end up all over the freeways and streets for some odd reason.
Yeah, I wasn't requiring that shoe anymore. Might as well throw it out the window now.
I was the pacifier tosser when I was a baby, but I haven't thrown out any good pairs of shoes in my recent days.
Do you remember a guy named Paul Harvey?
Yes.
I think it was Paul Harvey that says, or once said, when a new mother has a baby and the baby drops the pacifier, the new mother must sterilize the pacifier by boiling it in water before giving it back to the baby.
Right.
And after the mom is working on the second baby or the third baby, if the pacifier is dropped on the floor, the mom must then sterilize the pacifier by putting it in her mouth before she gives it back to the baby.
Exactly.
I'm hearing music.
That means it's time.
For Ina?
I don't know. I didn't hear her in the hallway yet.
I don't see her yet either. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps it up for this edition of the Locksmith Show, and we'll look forward to talking with you, well, maybe next week. I'm possibly going to be on an airplane, but Andrew will be here.
I will be here.
I will be here as well.
So, have a great week, everybody.
Weekend.
Hey guys, if you like my YouTube channel, please subscribe below. It's over here. I don't know. It's somewhere, anywhere. It's wherever they like to put it. I don't know. But thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe. Tell your friends. Share my videos. If you have any questions, email me, andrewslockandkeyaz@gmail.com, or don't hesitate to pick up the phone. I answer my phone all the time. 480-437-4022. Thank you, and have a great day.